My sisters tell me what to do. We usually disagree about a lot of things. I want to just share my thanks for you again to come to this program. You know, and I'd like to, before I do, introduce Ann Dolvin. Ann is back here. Ann, would you stand up, please? Ann is a friend of... And Ann has walked part of the Camino. So she wanted to come in here and be reminded, and feel free to shout out some thoughts and whatever experiences you had as well. Because, you know, the Camino invites walkers not merely to a physical path. Eric, I think we need to turn that down just a little bit because DJ's right, I'm wrong. It invites people to a way of life. The goal is not simply to arrive in Santiago, but to be personally transformed and inspired, which I think the three of us who walked in here could all say that. The Camino is different from the long-distance wilderness trails like the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail is much more primitive. There's a lot more wilderness that you experience on the Appalachian Trail. The Camino does have some uninhabited wilderness, but also it traverses some towns, villages, and some urban cities that you'll see. The great joy and the gift of the Camino, from my perspective, is the people that you meet along the way. We met people from all over the world, literally. How wonderful they were, and people, you felt in touch with people since medieval times that have walked this path. Everyone walks for their own reason, spiritually or otherwise. And everyone is called a pilgrim on the Camino, whether they are religious or not. Now, I've shared before here at Zion, but to give you a little reminder that when the apostles divided up the known world to go out and preach the gospel, it is said that James, the son of Zebedee, it was Peter, James, and John. James and John were brothers. James was the older brother. James went to Spain, and he preached the gospel there. And there's some that believe that he had an effective ministry, others don't believe it, but something happened that he returned back to Jerusalem, and in the year, I think, 42, 44 AD, King Herod beheaded him according to Acts chapter 12. James's disciples took his body back to Spain. There's legends around a lot of that, what happened there. It's even said that his body was transported in a stone ship that was carried by angels and the wind. His body was carried and buried in what is now the city of Santiago, the Compostela. Because it's called Compostela, because the body, well, let me just say, the body appears to have been forgotten until 813 AD, when a hermit saw a light shining on this mountain where these remains were buried. James with two other of his disciples. A local bishop authenticated these relics, and King Alfonso II built a chapel to the saint. The first church at the site was built in 829 AD, and the current cathedral was begun in the year 1075 and completed in 1120. Now, the event that catapulted the shrine into a major pilgrimage status was the Battle of Cleveland in 852, where it is said that St. James arrived on a white horse to assist the Christian army fighting the Muslim invaders, which won James the title of St. James the More Slayer. Ruth and I walked the Camino Francis that begins in southern France. There's no straight airline shot down to Saint Jean Pied de Port, which you'll see part of a little bit. So we flew into Paris. We took a high-speed train down to the coast of Bayonne, I believe it is, the city, and then took a smaller train into Saint Jean Pied de Port. Here's Notre Dame in Paris. Okay, we have arrived there. Saint Jean is I would say, a town of a population of about 1,800 people. Now, the early pilgrims practiced being very frugal and very practical when they walked. Usually, the early pilgrims had a staff, a wooden staff that had a hook on it, so that somehow they could put a gourd, attach a gourd to it with water in it, so they would have water to drink. It was symbolic of the wooden cross that Christ hung on. It also was a means of protection from animals, dogs, whatever. There were packs of dogs along that, or thieves, bandits, that would help protect them. A leather bag was carried, a small bag to remind pilgrims to rely on God's provision. Today's pilgrims use backpacks, as you can see on my back there. A little bit bigger than a small bag, but you should carry no more than about 10% of your weight, because you're carrying a backpack 8 hours a day, every day, and every little ounce makes a difference. The sea scallop are part of the symbol of the Camino. They are plentiful along the coast of Galatia. The shells, with its lines in the seashell, represent a couple things. One, like a finger, a hand, the fingers on the hand, to be open, to do God's good deeds, to give. Also, the lines tend to converge at a point. And so it represents the different routes that can be taken from Portugal, or through Spain, or through France. Legends have it that James's body, when it was being brought to Spain, fell off the boat somehow, went down into the water, but it was recovered soon thereafter with seashells covering the entire body. Some of the legends that surround that. Many pilgrims died along the way, especially in the medieval times. Such dangers included finding drinkable water, crossing rivers and creeks, bandits, thieves, murderers. Pilgrims tend to travel in groups. As you saw back there, I will talk a little bit more about, let me turn this green line on right there, the seashell and the arrow, the yellow arrow, very important. This is how you find your way on the Camino. These signs are fairly prevalent and help direct the way for you so you don't get lost. Okay. Just some signs that point the way with some, looks like a little seashell. Some of the, in one of the little shops having these different pottery pieces, the pilgrims. Is it on? You may have to speak it.
Oh, okay, I'm going to speak into it. I just wanted to add something that was a problem on the Camino for those of us who enjoy shopping. It was very difficult to shop because you had to carry it. We knew we had to walk many miles. So there were so many cute things that I could not buy along the way. I just wanted to add.
Now, I saw that as a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. That's called saving money. But seriously, the weight did add up. One of the local restaurants there?
I would add something about that restaurant. In that little town, it was a very cute town, medieval town where we were walking up and down the hills there shopping. stopped at the end of the day before we went back to our room, and I had something called Basque cake, which was very delicious. It was like a cakey cheesecake. And I looked for it all along the way, but I soon discovered that the different regions in Spain were like different countries. And so if I went to a different region and asked for Basque cake, they actually looked angry because it was only sold in that particular region. But you can see I'm smiling because it was very good.
Again, the symbol of the Camino. This is on the ground. The symbol there that Saint Jean headed out of the city. To the first real place to stay is about 20 miles. And it's 15 miles up here. The first day is very, very trying, as you can see. You can tell I'm starting to lag behind going out here. You know, the interesting thing is, in 1992, we went on a missions trip to Africa. We flew into Brussels, Belgium, and then flew down to Africa, over Spain, and I crossed the Pyrenees. And I remember the pilot encouraging the people on the plane to look out the window if they wanted to see the Pyrenees. And I did. They were so beautiful. They were covered in snow. This was in January or February. And I never thought I would be walking over part of it. There's a little cat laying there. That's why I took this picture. I'm more of a scenery type person. You'll see along this, so there will be people there. There are two routes to get to Resconsfield. Say it in the...
I think it's Rockhamsdale.
Is that the way to pronounce it, Ann? Do you think? Good enough? Close enough. There is the easiest way, which is down along the flats. Or you go up over the Pyrenees, over the top of them. The flats were the medieval route until it became a problem with bandits and thieves that were robbing the pilgrims. And so they decided to then walk over the Pyrenees, where it was much more difficult for thieves to come after you. And this is part of the route there. You can see we're with some other pilgrims. About 100 or 200, 100 to 200 people a day walk out of St. John walking this way. Beautiful country. Never expected such beauty. Yeah.
15 miles up. What was the change in elevation?
I'm guessing probably about 2,000 to 3,000 feet at least. This again is the end of August when we started our trip. This is Orison. It is a rest stop there. It is also an albergue. See the word up there? It's probably about 5 miles up the mountainside there where we stopped for some refreshments. Albergues come in 6 different varieties where you could spend the night if there was room. There were what they called the parish ones, which was run by a church, a municipal one by the local authority, covenant, or monastery by a religious group, associations run by Spanish organizations, private hostels, or private places called pensions. So there's different ways, there's different places you can sleep depending on your sleep habits. As I've shared with others, I'm a very light sleeper, so sleeping in a room with 80 other people that are snoring would not be good. And Ruth agreed with me, thankfully. We did make it the first day up the hill. There's a horse. Animals here there's not a lot of fencing, so they have bells on them, so the owners can track them down. Like this one here. Again, notice we're still going uphill. Or like those, even though they do have bells on them. And Ruth has her backpack full. country, getting up near out of the tree line, where again, these all animals have bells on them.
Looks like we're still going uphill, but I would just add one thing, that you would think it would be very difficult to do the 15 miles up, but I actually felt it was more difficult doing it 5 miles down. Eli taught me how to walk downhill because I didn't know how to do it, so after that first day, I sort of learned we had to go zigzag pattern down the hill.
They encourage you to be very, very careful when you're traversing down the hill because of the weight balance and you could lose it. And so we saw one young lady that had to go to the hospital. She had fallen because there were some places here the path is not bad. It's small stones, but you cross over some rugged rocks. This is a monastery. It was Collinsville, where we stayed the first night. It was very comfortable. All the places we stayed in were extremely clean. The people were friendly, helpful. The population in this town about 30 people.
I do, however, remember that when we arrived at the monastery that night, we started to learn what the term potable means. The water was not potable in the monastery, which simply means it's not drinkable. So when we arrived there, we had to make sure that we didn't use the water to brush our teeth, and everywhere we went, they either said potable or not potable.
Up the next morning, this is still where we spent the night. And it's 790 kilometers to go. This is a little town. I want you to notice a couple things about the town. The Verget is the name of the town. But notice how clean the streets are. There's no litter in the towns. All the towns you'll see have very clean streets. Very quiet that morning walking through there. Again, this is a little monument to show you you're on the Camino so you can know which way to go. It's not hard to get lost, but you shouldn't get lost. We had to turn around a couple times. Some of the churches, more modern one in the town. You can see the clouds. It rained going up the mountain here, and we met a young lady from Germany. Her name was Manuel. We have a picture of her. When it started lightning, she said to us, "Not good." I believe this is the next day. Headed to Arizona. You want to tell about these?
Yes, everywhere we walked along the way, I don't know if you can see that clearly, but there were wild blackberries everywhere. And it was very convenient right along the path, and I would eat them often.
They're very ripe.
Yes, they were delicious, yes.
You can see a little bit more of the trail there. It's getting a little bit more rocky, so you need a decent pair of hiking boots. Problem was, to walk in those 8 hours a day, 20 miles a day, I had 5 blisters on both feet within 2 weeks. And Ruth's feet were like angels. Creative way to show you the arrow. Again, there's the arrow or the yellow arrow. This isn't yellow. Because some pilgrim had too much time on their hand and they were resting and just wanted to show you which way to go. A unique tree that was very beautiful. I don't know how old that tree was. Just the path still. And how it changed. Going into a little town, the people paved this for the pilgrims. So because going down again hill, when it's wet, it was muddy and you could fall and hurt yourself. Very thoroughly mowed. we spent the night. It's in Arizona, a town called Arizona, and an elderly lady owned it, operated it.
And she had 3 bedrooms, and it was like staying in your grandmother's house, so I call her grandma. And it was really cute because we did not speak Spanish well, and she did not speak English.
We didn't speak it at all.
So eventually I learned to use Google Translate, but until then, that night I asked her, I knew there was only one restaurant in town, so I asked her how to get to the restaurant, and she thought I was asking her to cook us dinner, and she immediately started to get frozen meat out of her freezer. It was so sweet, and I tried to explain to her, no, I just want to know how to get to the restaurant. But that was another quality there. Anywhere you stayed, if you wanted them to cook you a meal, they would do it. So that was really nice.
In little towns like this where population maybe of 30, 40 people, there was one place to eat in a bar. They would serve communal style. In Spain, there are places they don't like to eat before 9 o'clock p.m. When you're done walking about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, you're tired, you're hungry. So the first shift started at 7 o'clock. We met people, I've shared the story with different people. We met a couple that were in their probably 70s. And they had been walking, this was their 82nd day, because they lived in Brussels, Belgium. And they walked from Brussels into France, and now we're in Spain. On their way to Santiago, the same place we were. The guy said it's like going to work. You get up each morning and you just do it. And after a while we understood that, because I'll share within probably 5 days, Ruth looked at me and said, why don't we get a beach house? I was tempted. Unusual statue to the pilgrims, and a little place to get snacks and food. Occasionally you had to walk near the road where the trail, wrong button. The trail is here, but it ends here because of the guardrails, and so you had to be very careful. And you walked against the flow of the traffic so that you knew that you would see the car, because some of the drivers we have about 200,000 pilgrims who walk this each year. I think some of them are a little tired of the pilgrims.
Were you in a group, or did you travel the two of you?
We traveled just the two of us. They have some guidebooks where you read about the places, but you never really felt alone. Occasionally, for hours of the day, you wouldn't see anyone. But starting out in the morning, a lot of people like to start out at dawn. We're a little bit later people, and so we would start maybe about 8:30 or so. And but you would never really need to feel that you were alone. We found this church. It was a 1,300-year-old church that is run by the Sisters, I won't give the correct name, the Sisters of Society of the Sacred Heart, where you could go in, you give a donation, you get a stamp, and I'll talk to you about the stamps. But you could also go up into the belfry and ring the bell, which was neat to do. It was kind of loud, but fun. And this is
that slide shows how to get up to the belfry, which you can see is quite kind of treacherous.
And there were no bats in the belfry. Again, another unique symbol for the Camino, where a lot of people are bicycling, so we were also on the bicycle path. There were hundreds and hundreds of bicyclists. People in Spain and Italy love to do the biking. Beautiful bridge, scenery. I think we're near Pamplona, which we are. This is the wall outside the city of Pamplona. And Pamplona is known for running in the bulls. And there is where they tried to reach the Plaza de Toros. where there's a statue of Ernest Hemingway outside. Ernest loved to visit Spain a lot. He wrote a book in 1926 called The Sun Also Rises, which made the bull festivals known worldwide through his book. When actually the bull runnings started in about the 13th century, where I read that most people are injured because of alcohol. They drink too much of the good wine there. I was holding it off with one hand. Can you believe it? Okay, I mentioned to you the woman by the name of Manuela. This is Manuela here. This lady is Jeannie. She's also from Germany. And this lady is named Pat from Seattle, Washington. And just met up with her again and walked with them for a little bit.
And one day we saw Manuela, she was taking a rest and we were continuing walking up a hill and she said, "You people from Ohio are the strongest people in the world."
Lovely lady. Beautiful scenery. What did you say? Yes.
We may have said this before, we missed it, but what is the weather? Is it humid? Is it?
It was pretty warm. Again, end of August, in the mornings, it was probably in the upper 50s, and some days it was close to 90. By the time we ended in the first week of October, it was in the low 40s starting out, and in the mid-lower 70s. But we only had 4 days of rain.
And what was truly interesting also about the weather is we would get out many mornings and it would be so cold that we would have to put on gloves and layers of clothing. And by noon, we were in our t-shirts again. So the mornings were often quite cold, but the afternoons were very pleasant.
I don't know if you can see in the background there, these are windmills across there. Lots of wind power in Spain that you'll see when we reach those. Lots of wheat fields. Lots and lots of wheat fields. Getting a little scruffy there. Hair's kind of been blowing in the wind. It was always fun to stop and look back for some reason. Knew that you had walked from that far. And this reminds me, if you have seen the movie The Way with Martin Sheen about this, I think this is one of the locations. I look for locations where I saw it in the movie. This was one of them, where the young lady was sitting here as they come around the bend. And this place is called, real quickly, Iglesia de San Miguel, and it is a monastery that people died in the village and stopped there, but those who stayed used it to store grain in until the 1980s when they restored it. And that's another view of it. Either going up a hill or down the hill. And you can see some of the hills are pretty steep. And so again, you have to be careful you didn't slip on the stone. But
Many people use the walking poles. I would say
Hiking poles.
hiking poles. Over half of them. And we chose not to just because we didn't want to carry one more thing. But many people did walk with those poles.
there's a modern highway there. Some little villages on the way. Let's see how the walking poles help you, especially with all the stones. Again, boots are pretty necessary. Something with solid footing. what is called the Alto de Perdón, which is about 2,000 feet. You can see the windmills here in the background. This silhouette honoring the pilgrims was placed there by the electric company that put up the windmills. And if you know Spanish very well, you can read that, but in English it says, "Where the way of the wind meets the way of the stars." And you can see we're pretty high up in altitude there. And that's a picture of the whole thing. Honoring pilgrims over the years. Little place where we had lunch, little places like this, albergue with a bar, honoring the Camino and the walkers. And food was excellent. Excellent food. I'll show you a couple pictures in a little bit here. Again, more than seeing a different shell. We went to a town, stayed in a little village called Pute La Rente, where we met 4 women who were walking from St. Francis as well, or not St. Francis, but on the Camino Francis. They were from Monroe, Louisiana. Some of you people know that. I'll talk to you about that in a second. We stayed in this one town, but went back to this little town called Obanus because they were having a running of the bulls. They block off the streets and the crowd gathers. And the crowds, hopefully that aren't too intoxicated, they get back off the place where the bulls are running. This guy was pretty good. He was quick, so he knew how to get out of the way of this bull here. This is the place where we stayed, and I just laid there in bed and looked out, and I thought, my goodness, look at that, how beautiful that is. The next day, again, gravel, you had to walk on the sides where it was less stones to save your feet from the punishment. A little cemetery with the markings inside. They don't allow people to enter without a priest. Lots and lots of vineyards where the grapes were fresh. Not only did we pick the black blueberries, we picked grapes as well. This little town is Siaquí on the hilltop there. Beautiful little village with the vineyards. Helps keep the village people alive. And you're always, when you go into a town, you're directed by the cathedral, the church, or whatever place of worship. This is one of the ladies from Monroe, Louisiana. I believe her name is Shannon, this Carolyn. She is a dental hygienist, and she and these other ladies who live in Monroe, Louisiana, know the Robinson family. You know who the Robinsons are? Duck Dynasty. Oh. Carolyn said, believe me, what you see is what you get there. From the Robinsons. But this is a neat little place. Little vineyards here, grapes. There's either, this is an Olive Garden, I'm sorry. But notice there's a little sign there in the background because this young man by the name of Ivan, who called himself Ivan the Terrible, has a book crossing. You could sit here and read books and just relax. And Ivan also had a little stand where he had fruit and water and things that you give him a donation, whatever you wanted to give to him. But just a great young man. A lot of people are making their living off the pilgrims by offering them services. Nothing wrong with that. This guy was so friendly and neat. This is a haystacks. They cut them in squares, and how they get them up that high, I have no idea. We saw a lot of these. That's how they store their hay along the Camino. I'm not sure exactly what this place is. Little pilgrim statue there, honoring the pilgrims. A lot of churches along the way that have been abandoned and used for other purposes, like, storing grain. Another one there. Beautiful country. Look out. The wheat fields, the blue sky, and the view.
I'll tell the story.
Please tell.
So we're walking through this town and we stopped and I had some coffee, Buddy had some tea, and I came around the corner, and when I did, they had started a festival. There was a band playing, and we were just going to keep right on walking, and these young people were so friendly. They said, no, come and eat with us. And so they invited us to eat crawdads, which I had not eaten before, but they weren't easy to eat. But anyhow, we did join them, and they were so friendly, so nice, and they all wanted to get in on the photograph. That was one of the highlights of our trip through town.
They also had lots of olives, good bread. But look at the smiles of those young people. Thought about Eric's message there just now. Eric, good message. Very friendly.
Actually, what they were doing is 5 towns get together once a year and they have a cook-off. So they were all cooking various foods in their own corners.
Going up a hill. No fort that sat on top of the hill. This was one of the best salads I've ever had in my life because of the mixture of fresh things, the white asparagus, fresh tomatoes, seeds, the glazed balsamic. It looked not only beautiful, it was delicious. But with also, 9 out of 10 salads came with tuna. And so I wasn't afraid to eat tuna and fish to get some more protein. Again, look at the size of it. How did they get their sacks of hay that high? In the rural village that we had to walk through. A lot of them, as I mentioned to you, many pilgrims die on the trip because of different reasons. And you would see crosses that were at different places in memory of those loved ones. I forget this guy's name, but he's sitting there making things for the pilgrims to buy. But this guy has a lot of time on his hand because in the back there you can see these stone housed, erected things that I couldn't do that. For pilgrims who walk it in the wintertime, this is a shelter and to get out of the cold weather. Again, look at the grapes, how bright. We are in the region of the what is it, the wine region of Roja, which makes a lot of nice red wines. Into a town of Vienna, where we stopped for lunch there, and didn't have a great experience. There was a rude waiter. He didn't care for us. We went into a little town called Verona and spent an extra day and had some time and went to a winery to see if it was any different from how they make wine here in our country. They use a lot of hand picking of Vegas. Some of the wine barrels. That vine's over 125 years old. Uh-oh. Take it back. There we go. Now, notice here, this is why I took this. Bread, water, and wine included in your meal. Make it like it's water there. It was a good, very good table wine, if you like wine. When we would go in and say, hola, they would usually hand us the English menu. We know you guys. Again, a unique symbol. One of the parks we went through, just some wildlife there, like that. Now, this is an older pilgrim who he walked with his staff and his different things, sharing his adventures. And, quite the dude. Did you think that was me? Beautiful vineyards, all over. Look at those vineyards, have all the people. Again, no litter anywhere. As we're going into this village. I believe this is Santa Domingo, Santa Dominic, who cared for and developed parts of the Camino in this area in the 11th century, including building bridges and helping people cross creeks. Just a site where other pilgrims have passed. Again, notice one of the cathedrals over there. Sweeping up her leaves. These are stork nests on this seaboard. Big nests. Where we didn't see any storks, but we saw all the nests. Ruth talked about water. Water is necessary. You needed to drink at least 2 liters to help with the fatigue and keep away from blisters. Very good drinking water. It's a monument, I think it's from the 9th century, as a number of people that are buried there. Again, there's the pilgrim symbol of the Camino. Going up a hill. I had the camera. I think this is a monument to some of the Spanish people who died in that area, going down the hill. At different places there were what I call oases. There were little snack things that I've shared with you. This was kind of unique. This was built and staffed by a woman who had 2 children and offered free slices of watermelon and water for a donation. Kept things very clean there with the trash cans. Just a unique place where you could stop, sit on a stump. Another little village town. I like that song, Ages. I believe we're going into Burgos, which is population of about 180,000. This is the Cathedral of Santa Maria, the 13th. A beautiful, beautiful cathedral inside. Now, just look at this stonework here, but the stained glass windows inside, magnificent. The wealth makes us wonder how they helped the poor and the hungry when they poured so much money into building this place. Beautiful work, though. Look at that ceiling. That's the outside one. Walking out into the city. A lot of little churches that you would see along the way. Again, the path is a little stony there. You need a good pair of shoes. Doesn't look that far away, that's probably about 4 miles. You come to a hill and go, oh, there it is. Lots and lots of fields of sunflowers. The first shepherd guy I saw. I asked him if I could take his picture, and I don't think he knew what I said at all. This is one of my favorite little towns, the town of Montanus. Only about 70 people there, but it was warm, welcoming, and just the people were so friendly. And we're going down into the village. Olives Spain produces and actually sends to Italy. I believe we are in Lyon here.
This is where I started.
Recognize that? Yes, it is Lyon. So, and you can help us out there. Now, this was odd. This young couple, groom and bride, on their
They were having a
bachelorette party. She had to wear this outfit, carry this doll. He had to wear that dress in front of all these people. This is in the Cathedral of Lyon. Beautiful. I think I have yeah, I do, up here, a magazine if you want to look at it. I apologize for the lack of clarity in the pictures, but stained glass again is magnificent. Very worshipful. Pilgrim statue, running away, again honoring the pilgrims. Again, look at their staffs going into this village here. This is near the city called Hotel de Orbigo. This is one of the longest, I showed a picture over here, Sherry put that together. This was built, I think in about the 13th century. One of the longest and best preserved bridges in Spain from the 13th century. Beautiful bridge. Walking over it. That's the old day over there. Camino. Some calves in these little pens here that they were newly born calves, just learning to stand. Look at the wheat and the hay. a resting spot here. But notice how the rocks here are very, very, and did you wear hiking boots?
Sometimes I wore hiking sandals. We went in June, it was sometimes fairly warm.
Okay. This was a unique oasis. Here's the stand. Again, donation, water, bananas, fruit, whatever. Run by a kind of a hippie couple. You can see her chilling out here in a minute, but I want you to take a good look and see what you notice. Look at her ear. That's an incense burning there. I'm thinking she's either high or, just misplaced. Where did I put that incense? That's her one block. That's a good one. This is going down into the town of, where's the one? I forget. Astoria. Very beautiful cathedral outside. This gentleman's making the staffs there of different things, making a living, just selling things. Not sure why I took that picture. An interesting place to stop if you want to go to, go to coffee and cafe. And so there are places like this all along the way that you can find nourishment. This is a felt right here. This young lady is a pilgrim and she's about to hold that felt in my arm. We are in a town called Fonce-Bedon. Remember that end? It's up on a hill where there's some wildlife there, the donkeys and cows. But this had the history of having a number of pack dogs in the area. There was a town of about 13 people. It was a favorite town for us. It was quaint. And, I don't know if I have any pictures of it. Is there anything on it?
The only thing I can think of is walking up the hill once we're done, we were attacked violently by aggressive flies.
Flies.
Aggressive flies.
Aggressive
They were very like,
You got ready the next morning, you wanted to head out and watch the sun come up. Also sent this picture. This is Cruz Ferraro. It's a humble monument of the cross, obviously, and stone piles here. People bring stones to leave in memory of someone or in honor of someone. And so before Ruth and I left for the Camino, Luke and Riley and I, our grandchildren, went to the stone store over on Freedom Road. And I carried those small stones in honor of Luke and Riley and left them there. And Ruth carried two as well.
I heard that cross, it means the Iron Cross, and it's so old they don't know where it came from.
Really?
It has no history. I mean, it's been there since forever. And of course, it was much taller, but because people have been leaving things over millennia, it's got shorter. But it's the highest point on the Camino.
And you can see there's a little chapel back here, but a very solemn place. We're going up the mountains now, and lots of rocks along the way. And what a view, what a view. Little town of 37 people. And notice the black slate roof, how things have changed here. As Ruth was saying, she's wearing gloves, it's a little chillier. This is probably near the end of September. And going through the town. Notice the difference here now is some of the closer you get to Santiago, some of the symbols and ways to direct you have changed. More modern with motorcycle. There's another story's nest on top of that. Ruth wanting to buy jewelry or something. Again, notice the dog. He's not chained. None of the dogs are ever chained. On leashes. Buy some refreshments there. More great vineyards. Walking out of this little town, this little pig came by himself, and then about 10 minutes later, up the road, I don't know if I have that picture. Yeah, there we go. 4 more, and this guy's herding them with his car. He's riding back and forth, pushing his hogs down the road. This was delicious. Lots of seafood in this thing. This not as quite that big. It was about 18 inches in diameter. I thought we'll never eat that. We were scraping the bottom of the pan. It was delicious. This is a group of Spaniards. These two here. These guys were from England. We had quite a conversation with them. Very friendly people. They were from Valencia, they were southern Spain. Shepherd with his sheepdog pushing his sheep. Here we go. I've asked Shirley to show you the sorry to call it. This is late September.
Was there mountains around?
Yeah.
It could be bringing these cattle down out of the mountains.
Well, he was thinking we walked with him probably about 3-4 miles at least that day. And this guy just kept walking. He had a little stick there. He rarely used it on him. But see, the mountains are there. And here he goes. I wonder what that horse is thinking. This man here, his name is Elias Molina San Pedro. He was a priest who lived in the area and who was instrumental. You can't really make it out, but he was the one who came up with the idea of the yellow arrow. Although the seashell was there, and going into certain places, they didn't have the seashell, so you would see the yellow arrow, and you knew you were on the right direction because it pointed you which way to go. This is just a monument to the pilgrims on the mountain there, and that's around 2,000 feet, I think. No, I'm sorry, 4,200 feet. Some of the churches in the small villages. Beautiful places of worship. Again, dogs were free to roam. Big dogs, not just little ones, big dogs. This young man's making a living by playing his bagpipe out on the Camino for entertainment.
Oh, that guy, yeah, he was there. He's a bagpipe.
There's the yellow arrow with the symbol of the seashell. I said this was back, this was built by the Romans in the 10th century. Walking across that thing, believing I was holding on to the handrail. That's so high. Young girl with her mom and dad walking in Camino.
We saw a lot of school kids too.
You saw what?
School kids that
School
were just
kids.
walking.
Especially closer you got to
Yeah, just for
Santiago.
the day, not for the whole thing.
Anyone know what these trees are?
Yes?
She does. Want to guess? Go ahead. Eucalyptus, you win a baked potato. These are eucalyptus trees. Notice the colors of them. A lot of eucalyptus grows. There was amazing.
They say they're trying to get rid of them. They're an invasive species.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
A unique symbol.
I don't know.
These seashell and this over day.
I think that was the day when we saw that seashell, but we had that couple who were walking, they looked like they were in their mid-20s, and after a while, they told us that they were from South Korea, and they were doing the Camino for their honeymoon.
You needed to get a stamp to prove that you walked away, so you have a pilgrim passport up here and got a stamp along there, and this was called the donkey stamp. And you gave here again a donation that you were on here, and there's the donkey to prove it. Some beautiful words. We're close to Santiago. Again, as I said, not only the symbol there, but see, look for that little sign there. Pass that out down as well. This is a monument to the pilgrims. It's up on the hill from Santiago that the pilgrims used to camp out here and look down on the city and walk in the next morning. More elderly people walking with hiking poles and canes. There's a strew of people going into the buses would take them outside the city so that they could experience walking into the city of Santiago. And there's the cathedral at Santiago where we will go inside here in a moment. The background, that's the Reverend, I guess, with the statue of St. James. I believe the remains are there. Maybe you can see a little bit better there.
They're underneath in the basement.
I'm sorry?
They're underneath in the basement.
Underneath in here somewhere.
We
Did
walked.
you walk up behind him? Did you walk
We
up
didn't
behind
walk behind, we walked down to see,
Did you?
but you can hug him, yeah, from the back.
This is the Bota Funerary. If you saw the movie, you remember how they did that incense?
Yeah.
How they swung that in the movie? The purpose of that, the history is that because of the pilgrims who weren't able to take baths, helped the smell within that cathedral.
Did you guys get to see it swing?
We did not.
Oh, we did. We were left out.
Right?
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Just saying.
Ruth and I stood in line to get our certificate. There's the one you showed me, and ours is a little different. Up here, you present your passport, and you have this official document that you walked the distance. You could either walk all the way from France or wherever, or you could start out as Anne did in Lyon, which was, I think, 60 some miles. 20 kilometers. I
Yeah,
think.
oh yeah, as long as you make your 100 kilometers, but
100 kilometers.
we did 170 kilometers.
Did you?
It's just Ucibrero is the marking point for 100 kilometers.
Bicycling, I think you had to do a little over 200
Yeah.
kilometers and get the same sort of certificate. Ruth convinced me that we needed to go to Fistera, which is what the Romans called the end of the road. And so, since it was about 80 more miles, I think somewhere around there, we took a taxi 1/3 of the way and we walked 2 days to get there. A beautiful little sea town. Where you head toward this end, where there's a lighthouse. Or you could go down over the sides here. There were no railings, there were no warnings. People could walk down there at your own risk. which this crazy guy did. Yeah. I look a little different from starting out. Notice here, 000 kilometers. We were at the end, there's the Atlantic Ocean out there. That's it, folks, thank you.